Okay, before we jump into this, how to apply online, I want to remind you that this is not the only way to apply for your Medicare benefit. You can stop by your local Social Security office, or you can call them on the phone and apply that way. If you're uncomfortable for any reason using a computer, even with this tutorial, I recommend using one of those other methods. This tends to be the quickest way to get your Medicare application processed. But if you've got the time, feel more comfortable using the phone or stopping by in person, we recommend that you do that. You're going to start at ssa.gov and head over to this Medicare drop-down box and click Sign Up for Medicare. At this point, as you scroll down, you'll see two boxes, and this can sometimes be a point of confusion for some folks wondering, am I signing up for Part B only, or am I signing up for Medicare? Which of these do I choose? The only time you would choose the second box is if you've deferred your Part B, but you have active Part A. This is typically indicated by the fact that you have a red, white, and blue Medicare ID card that has been sent to you that lists on your card your Part A hospital benefit and a start date, but no Part B is listed. If that is you, you would use that second box. Most folks, particularly turning 65, want to use this first box of signing up for your full Medicare Part A and B benefits. So we're going to use that. Apply online. This takes you to the old Social Security application site where we're going to start a new application. Click I'm applying for myself. Now a little tip here, regardless of whether you click yes or no on this question, do you have a My Social Security account, you're going to end up in the same place. Clicking no asks you one additional question, and then you'll get to the next screen either way. I would suggest to bypass that, just click yes, and then either route you're going to get here. Now, as we land on this page, it's important to kind of review, for some of you, you may already have login information for your My Social Security account. If so, go ahead and plug in your username and password and sign in, and you'll bypass some of these next steps that we're going to go through. Eventually, we'll get to the point that you'll be at if you have your username and password. But I want to address those of you that think that you've been in the Social Security that you have a My Social Security account, but you're not sure that you remember your password. Maybe you're even trying it right now and it's not working. I recommend using, if you know your username but you've forgotten your password, go ahead and click that Forgot Password, plug in your username, your Social Security number, and your date of birth, and they'll provide you the option to reset your password. If you've forgotten your username but you know your password, you can have them, plug in your email, your Social Security number, and date of birth, and they'll provide your username. Typically, I think you have to give your password is the next screen though. So you've got to remember one of those. If you don't remember either, your option at that point is to either apply online, or over the phone, or apply in person, or you can call the Social Security office and they can reset your account. They won't provide you with your username or password over the phone, but they can reset your account so that then you can come back and create a new account, which is what we're going to go through here in a moment, how to create a new account. I will tell you that if you are in the system already, if you've created a username or password at some point, even if it was years ago, you're likely going to get roadblocked. You're going to get an error message at some point in this process saying that you're already in the system. And so just realize that if that happens, if you get an error message at some point, you're going to need to either take a different application method over the phone or in person, or you're going to need to get your account reset. So be aware that does happen, and usually that's the culprit of the error message, is the fact that you've got an account already created. So for those of you that don't have an account, you don't have an account, and we're starting fresh, you're going to click Create an Account. And at this point, I'm going to go into some screenshots that I've done taken with a client that I've walked through this process with, and we'll go through this account creation process. Okay, so at this point, it's important to understand that in order to apply online, you do have to have an active email address that you can access, and you can create a new one if you'd like. If you don't have one, you can create your own email address, but that is a requirement for this process. You'll plug your email address in and click submit, and then you'll get this screen where it says we've sent an email to your email address with a link to confirm your email address. Follow the link to continue creating your account. This shows you what that email will look like. The subject line is confirm your email. It comes from login.gov. And so you'll click into that email and click confirm email address, the big blue box. And that will take you then to this page where you've confirmed your email address and you're going to create a password. And that email address will be your login, your username, and then you'll create your password here. And their only requirement is that it needs to be at least 12 characters long and not commonly used. So then you get to this authentication method setup. Now, some folks are not tech savvy with their phone and don't receive text messages. Text message is probably the preferred method of authentication, but you can do so. The two I'd recommend is number one, text message, or you can do backup codes, which they'll basically give you a list of 10 codes that you save, and you just use those codes each time you log in. So this is for when you log back in. You're going to, like I say, you can either use your mobile phone or these backup codes, and you can select more than one. So in this case, for this client, we did backup codes, and then we added that, and you can then click another method where you can add text message, and then you can choose whether or not you want to use your backup code or a text message. Reality is, for this process, hopefully you're okay with receiving text messages, because really our next step is going to require an access code that will be texted to you. So you get to this point, you click I agree to the terms of service, and then you'll plug in just your information. This was the only point in the application that I could put in some false information, a John Doe. From here on out, I'm going to have to black out some sensitive personal identifiable information. But you'll plug in your information here, and then with an added extra level of security, you can choose whether or not you want to do this. It requires some additional steps, as you can see here, taking photos of your ID with a smartphone. And this is just if you're really concerned about the security of your account, you can do this. I don't typically do it if I'm helping a client through it, just because it requires a number of extra steps. So at this point, you need an activation code. Like I say, hopefully you have a mobile phone that you can receive text messages on that you feel comfortable with. You can also get a phone call with that activation code. So if that's more comfortable to you, for purposes of this tutorial, we're going to select text messaging. And then I should also mention, I told you, this is usually somewhere in this point is where you're typically going to get roadblocked if you already have an account somewhere created with Social Security, a My Social Security account. You're going to get an error message, and that means that you're already in the system, and it probably won't let you proceed beyond somewhere in these last few slides. That text message, again, it starts with an A and then has a string of numbers. You'll plug that in, and that then, congratulations, you've now accessed the online services for your Medicare application. And at this point, really from here on out, it's pretty straightforward, self-explanatory. You're just filling in information. I'm going to walk through it fairly quickly, but we've gotten through really some of the more difficult and sometimes confusing steps. From here, you just are plugging in your demographic data. So name, security number, date of birth, gender, and and then contact information, plug that in, birth and citizenship information. So I captured this screenshot just to kind of show if you miss any information, if you try to click next, you're going to get an error that will show you at the top in that pink box what you've missed, what's still missing on the application before it will let you proceed. So it's kind of nice to know that it's fairly it's fairly intuitive and doesn't really let you make mistakes. It will let you know if you've missed something. So wanted to highlight that for you. Now at this point, I want to let you know that you can actually opt into your retirement benefits at this point as well. So if you are wanting to start Medicare and also get your Social Security retirement, you can click yes here, or excuse me, no here if you're just wanting Medicare. So the question is, do you wish to apply for Medicare only, but not for monthly retirement cash benefits? For purposes of this client, we were clicking yes. We just want Medicare. She was not wanting to enroll in Social Security retirement benefits. But if you click no, there's going to be some additional questions that you'll run through to get your Social Security retirement benefits started. So a little helpful piece of information there. At this point, this re-entry number is to let you know that if you have to step away from your computer at some point before completing the application. This is fairly far into it, so at this point you're likely going to just get all the way through it. But this is a re-entry number that you can print and save so that you can come back to this application later. It will save your information. You plug in your re-entry number and you can get back in. But like I say, we only have a little bit of the application left anyway, so if you can just stay with it and finish it out, that would be recommended. Okay, do you want to enroll in Medicare Part B? Yes. Are you receiving Medicaid, your state health insurance, Medicaid? You can answer that pertaining to your situation. Are you covered under a group health plan? Now this is going to, I mentioned right at the beginning of our video, if you have employer benefits and group health benefits available to you, that can change whether or not you really want to be applying for Medicare. And so it's kind of going to ask you, hopefully you've determined that already before you've gotten to this point, and the answer is no, which is why we want to proceed with applying for Medicare. This is important for you to, the only thing that I use this section for is, with remarks, is to indicate when you'd like your Medicare to start. You don't necessarily need to put this. For most of you, if you're turning 65, it's going to be the month, the first of the month of your 65th birthday. But if for whatever reason you're starting Medicare after age 65 and you know when your, say your employer benefits are ending, this is a great place to put when you would like your Medicare benefits to begin. So please make my Medicare benefits effective on such and such a date. Thank you. You're indicating when you'd like that to start because you know when you have coverage ending. If you don't put anything, like I say, it's probably just going to default to your 65th birthday month, or if you're after age 65, if you don't put anything there, it's going to be as soon as they process your application. So you can indicate there if you have a specific date you'd like them to start. And now you get to a review and sign. This is, just you scroll through and make sure that all your information was entered correctly. As you scroll down, this is again just a scroll down, and then get to the bottom where you have a signature that you're basically just clicking to sign the application. You click I agree and submit. And then you'll have this, they do recommend that you print this page because it does give you the confirmation number, which is also your reentry number. So if you already printed that reentry page, that confirmation number is the same. This is good to have just in case, for whatever reason, you get no notice and you're waiting for multiple months. You would contact Social Security and say, hey, I've applied for my Medicare benefit. And if they say, well, we don't see your application, then you can give them this confirmation number to help them look it up if you have any problems. And you click done. This is a screenshot of printing this page. Click done, and then it takes you right back to your Social Security SSA.gov account. You're welcome to provide feedback if you want, or be on your merry way. So thank you for sitting through this. Again, if you have any questions, about this process at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at Valley Insurance Markets, and you can visit with one of our representatives to assist.